Greetings, everyone. Dr. Annette West, Publishing Pusher here. Thanks for joining me in the JetNay Publishing, talking all things books. Yes, the operative words, all things. I'm excited you're here. You listen in, share your thoughts. You don't have to be live on the screen to be able to talk. And I want you to know, your success is my business. I'm here to assist you, support, empower, inspire, as we pull out those thoughts to get these books accomplished. Thanks again for joining me.
All right, everybody, how you doing? It's another week. As we prepare for our Talking All Things books. I hope you have been on the YouTube channel, checking out some of the other videos, as well as checking out the Dr. Annette Publishing Pusher podcast and Publishing Pusher on the network. Our brother Jerry here on the screen has this fabulous network that I'm going to get him to share a little bit about, because we want more people to really tap into all of these gifts and talents that you have and push it out to the world. Listen, I'm telling you, somebody's waiting to hear your voice, okay? I'm believing every morning somebody needs to hear my voice. It's another great day to be on this side of the dirt, as the old folk used to say. And just thank the Lord for being in this day. Jerry, how you doing?
Good morning, Dr. West. How are you?
You know, it is a great day. Yes. Share with listeners, viewers, however they're going to connect on this platform later on to check it out, what you do, what your platform is.
Hello, everybody. I am a content creator, producer of a multimedia company. We produce podcasts for Christian ministers and pastors and lay leaders, you name it, for messages, Bible studies for all over the world. Also, we produce television ministries as well in Georgia, New York, and North Carolina. And also includes a children's television show using puppets to help kids with, encourage them for education and other things, eating right and exercising. And we help people get published as well. No matter what it is, we can act as a consultant, because we had published books for almost 20 years, but we kind of backed off of that. We're going to be doing more in-house stuff now for children. So that's what we are, and that's what we do. And if you're interested in promoting your products, and it's clean, when I say clean, it's for Christian families and ministries. We can help you get advertised and promoted on some of our television shows and podcasts as well. Amen.
Yes. Thank you, Jerry.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate Jerry. I don't know. I think we've maybe been connected for three or 4 years ago. And I think I first met Jerry through Lakeisha Mosley, the Lakeisha Mosley talk show, I believe, is where I first connected with Jerry.
Right.
And I was blessed to be on her show, as well as some other shows on his network. And now I have a few things on his network as well. So even though I'm running Dr. Annette Publishing Pusher, he's also pushing Publishing Pusher as well on his network. And just this morning, Thursday mornings at 10:30, he has me on his network in DeKalb25.com, where I am teaching biblical perspective. I watched it this morning. I watch it. Yes. I was like, oh, this is pretty good.
Good show, man.
I was like, this is pretty good. But like I said, we have something that we want to share. And whatever God has given to us, he hasn't just given it to us for us. He's given it to us to share with others. So any opportunity that I have to share what I am learning. I want to help other people. That's why we're here on Thursday mornings as well, doing this talking all things books.
Right.
I just had a conversation yesterday with a couple of publishers on another platform, and they were just saying, how so many people are doing things, but they're holding it for themselves. Like they don't want to share any of the information that they have. Like they were the creators of it. Like they had the first ones to think about that thing. I wasn't the first person to think about publishing or self-publishing or anything. Jerry wasn't the first person to think about all the things that he's doing. But guess what? He's doing it. Guess what? I'm doing it. But we're willing to share with others as well so that others can get their voice out there. I have a S3 model that says if you don't show up, look, we showed up this morning, right? If you don't show up, people don't know you exist. If you don't speak out, people don't know what you have to say. And if you don't share it, people don't know what's in your toolbox. So Jerry has this wonderful platform that people get to show up, share it, and show up, speak out, and share what's going on. I have platforms that do the same thing because guess what? Just because we have it doesn't mean we want to hold it to ourselves. We want to help other people as well. Yes. Any comment, Jerry?
Yeah, I believe in that all the way. I was just listening to this young lady this morning on YouTube, and she was talking about how a lot of us have our whole mindset is, like you said, keep it to yourself, but yet you want all this prosperity and abundance, but what are you giving? What are you giving back? And it was interesting. She was walking through the woods talking to her phone, to her audience, and she said, some of us want to work a 9 to 5, which is great. But then she said, again, a lot of us want prosperity and abundance, but God has instilled all of us with, He's created all of us to be creators, but we're not creating. And therefore, we're not receiving our abundance and prosperity. And a lot of us are wondering why we're still dirt poor or not moving to the next level. It's because they just haven't started pouring into anybody or, just pouring. Just keeping it all in, like you just said. So that message you just gave aligned with what she just said. And I'm a little guilty too, because I know it's a lot more I can do. And I was just thinking today, I said, wow, it seems like I'm kind of on a merry-go-round, but I'm coming back where I started, which was publishing. So to me, it's telling me, and I remember this one question that God had gave me. A young guy had said it, but I thought it was a message from God. He said, all right, Jerry, he said, you help me with my book. Now, who's going to help me market my book? And at that time, all of this was still new. Nobody really had a finger on it. And I said, man, that's a good question. And that's when I got into podcasting. And then he became a guest because he was in the military. He was stationed over in, I think, San Diego, but his main post was Korea. From MySpace, if people remember MySpace, man, we was pouring in over 500,000 listeners when we was connected with MySpace, and I think it was another platform Yahoo Groups. Yahoo used to have a group inside the email, which I love, and you can easily count your numbers. Man, that group, my Poetry Butterfly group I was part of, and all the other author groups that consisted of Black authors, connected it all to MySpace. It was like a steady 500,000 listeners. And wow. I was away, and we've had authors who have sold books out, having podcasts, overseas. So I say, if God puts something in you, man, start working on that thing, man, as soon as you can, because He'll take it away.
Yes, I'm working on a book right now. Actually, I have 2 other books that I'm like, one is finished, but I'm not ready to release it yet. I thought I was, but I'm it's not time yet. And the second one is about 95% ready, and I thought I was going to be releasing it, and I was like, no, it's not time to release it. And then it's like the Lord just told me which one I needed to do, showed me why I needed to do it, brought back to me the conversations with people that I had just recently as for the need for it. Because see, sometimes we may have something that we think we want to put out, but it might not be the right time.
Right.
Timing is everything. God's timing is everything. And so I believe this book, one of my ladies, I was telling them about the title, and they were like, oh my gosh, this. I'm not going to say it on the platform because I don't want anybody grabbing the title, okay? Because the book isn't published yet. Now, once you put certain things out, folk going to run and run with it. But we were talking, and one of the girls is kind of new to my group, women's group. She said, well, Dr. Annette, why did you come up, Timmy, how did you come up with this topic, for this book? Because, it sounds like great. You told us like 5 of the chapters that you're going to have. You gave us a little bit of the introduction. She says, and this really sounds great. And she was like, well, how did this come up? And then I said, well, when you really think about it, I said, you're fairly new. Like, you've only been in our group maybe like a little more than a year. I said, but others who are in here right now can tell you that we have been talking about this for a long time. On Clubhouse, I used to do a first Saturday room, and it was called Let's Talk Getting Your Financial Retirement Plan in Order. I said, so we've been talking about it for a while, but we just kind of stepped back from it, from that platform. But I said, we've been adding nuggets in here as people ask questions. We've been talking about different things. We've been pulling things to the table. I said, so it's just that time to pull it all together into a resource that I believe, as people are panicking about what's going on with the government and stuff, you'll be able to say, you know what, why am I focused on that? Let me focus on me. Let me focus on what I need to do for my sustainability. Let me focus on what I need to do to get my resources in order for the long term. Let me look beyond these 4 years if God's going to have me here. And let me not fret about none of that kind of stuff because, the God that I serve, he's got me. I don't have to worry and fret about those things. I don't have to worry about what is a new president going to do? How's he going to do it? Oh my God, how's it? It's not going to impact me. It's not going to impact me. I already know this. It might be a sad picture on some of the things, but it's still not going to impact me. See, we have to know who we are and who we serve. And then we can focus ourselves correctly as we are moving forward in our publishing, in our podcasting, in our movies, in our ebooks and our audiobooks, and whatever it is that we are trying to do, that we can put what we are doing out to another population, to a greater population. Let's work on those things. What'd you say, Jerry?
I was going to say, you hit the nail right on the head about the focus part. If we focus on what they're doing, you're just going to get more and more of that junk coming into your universe. If you start focusing on what God has for you, next thing you know, opportunities just keep falling out of the sky. Next thing you say, wow, look at this. YouTube videos will be sent to you. Emails going to be sent to you. There's going to be all kinds of opportunities going to help take you to the next level. And people always wonder why they're stuck. You're taking on too much negativity. Like, even my football team, as much as I love the NFL, when my team lose, I don't listen to none of those podcasts because they're going to be hit. They be tearing us apart. And it's not going to do anything but just make you angry. And you can't create when you're in an angry mode. It's because your frequency is off. You're vibrating all off, and nothing's going to come to you. You can be bouncing off good things. And a lot of people don't believe in that stuff, but just try it one time. Think about a car. I remember one time I wanted to try, just for the sake of trying it. I was thinking about this car that this guy was talking about, was his favorite car on YouTube, the McLaren. I saw 5 of them in my neighborhood, all different colors. And that's not a common car. That's a car that you see in California or Florida. I saw 5 of them in 2 days. So
wow.
It's powerful the way your mind can attract things. Now, it didn't take me to a parking lot to buy one, which I could, but I didn't. Because one thing I heard is not a good running car, stay in the shop. But people that just be careful what you focus on, because your mind sends out frequency and it's going to bring that stuff back. And just try it. Just think about, I was just thinking about one of our football players, and I was thinking about that expensive car like a Bentley or something. Did you know that same day he was driving down the street and waved at me with his convertible top down? The car was a money green Bentley. Roquan Smith, linebacker for the Baltimore Ravens. Passed right by me. Beautiful sunny day. I was with my dog. I just couldn't believe it. It was like, man. So with all that said, where you are right now about the people trying to, get your products out there, get your idea on paper, start writing stuff down, and just go for it, man. Go for it.
Yeah, I'm excited. I've been excited about every book that the Lord has given me, but this particular one that I was like, well, when am I going to do it? I need to get it done. I need to get it done, and the reason I need to get it done is I need to have it available for my women at my January retreat, and it will be a part of their package, that they will get a copy of the book. And we'll dialogue a little bit about it. And maybe I'll even add it to my book discussion on Monday nights, and they can come in and we can talk about the chapters in there. I think that's how we just start, just continually start pulling people in. So see, when I'm thinking about the book, I'm not thinking for the greater population of the book. I'm thinking for a select group, but I know it's going to expand to the greater population. But you have to have your clarity, your focus on what who your initial target audience is with what you are putting out. Yes, it can go forward. There can be outliers, people that are outside your scope that you were talking about that will still grab a hold of it, but you have to start with some scope as to who you want this particular, book to be. So my particular target audience from this particular book is women who are 45 to 65, who are working to plan and expand for their retirement. So that's my target audience. Will I get women that are in their 40s and 30s and 20s? I sure will. No, for sure I will. But you have to have your target audience when you start.
That sounds like that's the Generation X and tail end of the baby boomers.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's about right. Yes. Yeah. And so this is beneficial for me because when I write a book, it helps me. It puts me back on track with some things. It gives me reminders of some things. And then hopefully as I'm writing this and I go back through it, I'll be able to interject some of my own life experiences and examples in the book. And that makes it more personal where people can, see where you are coming from. That is not just content on the pages, but there is really some life lived application as well.
This show alone that you're having right here is very inspiring because basically I spend most of my time doing animation for the television show for the children. And now after listening to you guys talk each week about, getting to the next level where you're showing your book and how to display and how to market, I'm like, wow, I need to turn those animations, because the script is already written, and just make them a book.
A series. Yeah, a series of the books. Think back. You probably don't even have to think that far back. It's a classic. Dr. Seuss.
Yep.
How many books does the Dr. Seuss series have? I can't even count how many books I purchased for my kids through the years, okay? And then bought for my nieces and nephews through the years, and then donated to other people through the years of Dr. Seuss books. And when we look back and we said, what the world was we looking at? What the world? That didn't even make no sense that we was reading, but it got them to reading, right? So Jerry's doing the puppets. Guess what? We're going to take that animation. Now we're going to put it in book. He already got the look, the flow, the words and everything. Now he just going to start putting those pieces in the books and getting those books out, because guess what? People are seeing the show, but they would like to go back and look at Jerry talking about patience. Look at Jerry's show talking about forgiveness. Look at Jerry's show talking about hope. All of the things that our children need to learn.
Right. And I kind of got away from the education part for a minute, because when the kids went off to college, I ain't have nobody help me with the puppets. They dialogue back and forth. So now that they back, and I was able to simplify things a little more. I said, yeah, it's time to get back into the educational part, because we include a lot of music, and I was getting a lot of help on the music side. So now I got more help again on the education side. So now, and especially with a lot of the newer programs, we're able to do animations a lot quicker. Before it took forever to do I mean, it still take a day to put out even the simplest. And there's so many different animations out there for those of you who are thinking about getting an animation, you know, and it could be simple things like detective stories. You know, they make the best animation stories and you can really simplify it. And a lot of you have movie ideas out there, a short film. Hey, put it to a short animation first and then kick it, then keep building on off of that. That's, you know, so start somewhere, because just think about, you thinking about trying to do a full feature movie, you know, you're thinking about money, you know, how can you simplify that it's cheap without looking too cheap, you know? So I say, hey, go think about the way they started out back in the days when it was silent films. I think it's some film about to be released by Denzel Washington's son, if I'm not mistaken. It's going to be done in black and white.
Okay.
Yeah. They released on the piano lesson.
Oh.
So I say everybody got something in them. And I remember a publisher told me this, Mr. Coates, Paul Coates. He was a former Black Panther. He said everybody has at least one good book in it. And just think that one good book can become one good short film or one short. So it's just a matter of us getting away from the junk that we're watching on TV. It's good to relax sometime and have a favorite show, but you don't want to take in too much with is dominating your life. You know?
Yeah, we'll tell you, these are great conversations that I'll be having in my women's group. Because just this morning, I said, y'all keep sending me this link every morning to go to this particular room. I said, listen, let me tell y'all why I'm not coming into that room. It's not that I think that the person doesn't have great content, but I don't need it to be a distraction for me. I already have my morning set up. And it requires me to get up, get myself together, get in my time and the word with the Lord before I start doing other things. So I'm not drawn to go to somebody's platform to do that when I need to do that on my own to get started in the day. So I said, so when you all be like, well, you did, I sent you, I can't come. Okay. I can't come because I don't need it to be a distraction from what I need to do to start my day. So now I reprogram myself and I'm starting my day back with the Lord first. Prayer, reading the scripture, devotion time. And then I'm coming directly here to my computer and working on my books. Because the Lord said, you've been working on everybody else's books, but you're not working on your books. And when Jerry said earlier about he did all of this stuff and then it brings him right back. It's bringing me right back to my books, getting biblical truth out. So we have to know that even though we might start in a place and we may start journeying, most likely God's going to bring us right back to it so that we don't forget what we started out doing. And now we have more that we've learned so that we can expand more.
Exactly. Because I never thought that I was going to get back into publishing books again, especially when because Amazon kind of pushed us out of business where people can get together with the designer to actually illustrate their books and they can take it from there, where before we had we had the composition team, we had the illustration team, and then it all came to me to format the book and then send it to the printer. But now Amazon have it so if you're an illustrator, you can do all that stuff. The rest of the stuff is easy. So they can kind of take your business away from you. Well, they did. Amazon took the business away from us. And then that's I say, well, let me focus on the podcast. It was a hobby. It was fun. But then I found out more people wanted to do it. And it was starting to become mainstream as much as FM. Remember, AM radio disappeared. FM country started disappearing. And R&B is just barely hanging in there only because I think R&B is probably the most concerts that people go to. I don't think people do rock and roll concerts anymore. But I think that's what's keeping them in business, are the concert goers. So podcasting is so popular now because you don't have to sit there and listen to people talk junk all day. You can just go to what you want to go to when you want to. you know.
But I
And
think for you, Jerry, coming back to the books is a good thing, even if it's coming back to the books that are built on what you're doing.
right, exactly.
Doesn't have to
Right.
be bringing
Right.
other people in to do their books. That's a headache in itself. But if you already have the content and you can create 20, 30 books or pull out a book a month on what you're doing,
We wrote three last.
that's going to be massive. That's going to be massive.
Yeah, you're right, because just with the puppets alone, I already touched on just it's actually I have 4 series already. I wrote 5 books. One, three, 4 of them can become series alone. And I was
Okay.
just the puppets and then just our pet, our little dog, because she's a character. And it's like people think pets are so funny. You got your cat audience, you got your dog audience. And even if we target small children who have pets, because if we're going to include other pets in the series, and then at the same time, it's going to be challenging for the kids because we trying to play mind games at the same time with the series and challenge the kids with arithmetic and other things. So it's going to be fun, building on this. I'm kind of excited. It kind of rejuvenated me, and just like you say, become places after a while because you find I'm producing all these shows and I got a grip on it because people know what they're doing. I don't have to sit down and have production meetings. I don't have anybody who's not I will not say full of themselves, but understand what they're doing. They just need somebody to do this part, which we doing before. I had to hold hands, babysit, have a shoulder to cry on. These people don't need that. This is a solid
It's a
group.
different world. Technology, all the advancements have really created ease for us in many ways of doing things. And I think that's the excitement. That's the excitement of this, is knowing that there's so much more that's even coming. And so we have to be in the right space so that, as these things are coming. I actually signed up for a AI Academy because I wanted to learn some more stuff. And I'm telling you, it's been really informative, new ways of doing things. And I was talking to my coach, and I was like, hey, I need to ask you a question because I'm an academician, and I know in academia, when it comes to academic honesty and how much of somebody's content you can have in your document, even if you cite it and quote it. I mean, if you quote it, cite it, and reference it, you still have limitations. So I was like, so how does this fit with AI? And the reason I'm asking, this is totally different from where I was going today, but that's okay. Even if I have the ability to use AI, will I get in trouble if I use AI? And what are the parameters of using AI? So we talked, and he said, no, you'll be fine. Amazon has no problem with people using AI. They ask you one of 2 questions. Is your book AI developed, and is your book AI assisted? So you answer one of those 2 questions, okay? AI full means that you use AI to write your whole book, okay? The second way is AI assisted means you were asking AI questions relative to content in your book. And so therefore some AI may show up, but it's still your content. So cool. So I went back to one of my universities to see what they are saying about AI and usage in academia. Because, you got to go back and you got to look. So I saw that depending on your program, like education, business, marketing, or whatever, that there may be a variance in what you can use for AI. You can use AI, you just must cite it, reference it, just like you did those other resources and books that you use. Not that you can't use it. So I found out, because I'm a business professional, right? So I wanted to know, okay, if I want to write some business books, because the new book that I'm talking about will fall in the business arena, finance and marketing. So I wanted to know what percentage of AI would be acceptable that I would not get dinged on in my book. It was 15 to 25%. Guess what? That's the same percentage of when I was working on my doctorate for using resources. So the percentage factor has not changed. It's that basically that no more than 25% of your entire document can be resources from other places. So that stays the same. And as long as you are citing, referencing, you should be fine. So I don't want people to think, oh my God, I can't use AI for anything, but we must make sure we are using it as our assistant.
Right.
And not writing our content for us. And here's the thing, that you have to know. Even if you had a book that AI generated, you could not just take that book and publish it. Why? Because first of all, AI is generated on conversations, materials across broad perspectives of writing. And the way it's written may not be the way it needs to be written. So you're going to have to, even if you use the AI fully, you're still going to have to go back and rewrite, relook at, make sure everything is aligned correctly, or you're going to definitely get dinged and you may not be able to get on any of those platforms. Go ahead, Jerry.
One thing I like about it, for me, after I write out my outline and everything, it does give good ideas. I look for the ideas because one of the things I get stuck sometimes being the fact that I'm a graphic designer and a filmmaker. Sometimes you just get stuck with the idea of like, okay, you got these characters, but it's like, how do I get these characters started? You know, I know how I want it to end, but how do I want the story to start? And it does give really good ideas. It's really, really good when it comes to storytelling. And because of the type of storytelling I know no one else is telling me saying the same story because I'm using different characters and they doing things that I used to do when I was young. So I'm writing about what I saw in my childhood. You know, basically I just need a team ready to go right now. Where before it's like, oh, I gotta wait a night for my brother to read it. then for him to write out his comments. And then you're talking about a month just getting started sometime in publishing. So now it's more of an assistant for me. You know, especially when I need data, when I'm trying to grab data, I want to see what's going on out there, what is trending right now. It helps a lot of people. Like right now, I got friends who own businesses, and they said they use it to write their proposals. You know, they're submitting the government bids and everything. So that's telling me that it's accepted. They feel comfortable with it, getting them business.
Well, guess what? It's not going anywhere. If anything, it's going to become even more advanced. So why don't we learn how to use it effectively and efficiently in what we are doing? Because listen, if it takes you 3 months to come up with the whole concept, but you can go to AI, put in certain parameters and get certain insight that all you have to do is go back and rethink it, reword it, readjust it, interject, and it takes you 2 weeks instead of 3 months or 4 months or 6 months. That's critical, okay? We as authors could really be publishing technically a book a month if we really wanted to, if we did it the right way. So I have, on a book that I'm working on with 20 chapters, I only took 1 chapter in each section and ran it through AI to get another way of saying it. And then I'm going to compare it to what I have in each of those sections. And the other content, I'm going to leave exactly the same that I already have. This was just for expansion purposes because it may make me think of some ways to rewrite some other content in other sections. What you don't want to do if you have content is upload all of it into AI. Okay? You do not want to do that. I'm telling you, because then it's going to be showing up in other people's stuff.
Right, exactly. You don't want to put all your stuff out there because it will. And I was going to piggyback on what you just said too about it helping accelerate. And I was thinking about it too. How about learning and education? Like, say for example,
oh sure,
have ADHD, and they just don't have enough focus. Because I know me, since I've been diabetic, it's hard sometimes for me to get through a really thick book. You know, that's why I find myself reading small books and just watching it in video or listening to an audio book. I can retain it really quick in audio, just like having a conversation. But people with disabilities, especially children, it can really help a teacher kind of like spearhead some of her ideas a lot quicker. You know, she can be
Yeah.
writing a lot more programs where it's more audible instead of because the kid can't really read, but he can listen. And then he has something he can go back to and listen again. So I feel like it can really help the educational world once these teachers have an opportunity to learn it themselves. Like right now, they're not learning it. You know, they don't have the time to. And especially they just started getting laptops for the kids with the disabilities. They didn't take laptops home at one time. So I think AI, because right now big companies are definitely using it. You know,
Oh,
they
for sure. There's no
people
there's no
coding.
there's no question about it. Why wouldn't they? If it's
Yeah.
going to dissipate some of the time that they would normally, many of the hours that they would normally use, and you can get it done in a fraction of the time. I think I was looking at one of the things on, even if you uploaded your content, no, even if you uploaded your parameters into AI for a book, and you said I want to write a 30,000 word book on such and such and such, you still had to have certain parameters to put in there to get it started. Okay, after you put in those 30, whatever your parameters are, and you wait for the outcomes, it will generate to you 90%, not 100%, only 90% of what you need. Okay, so you have to know there's at least another 10% that you're going to have to do. I actually uploaded a document. I actually went in and said, I've been trying stuff because then if I try it, I can tell people what to do and what not to do. Okay, so I actually had just pulled different pieces of content together. I uploaded it to AI and I asked AI to give me a 5,000 word story, inclusive of this content. I asked it to cite where necessary and to give me a list of references. I also asked it to give me a list of questions that I could give the readers to ponder from the book. Okay? So I got it back. It was looking good. But then I did what? Okay, because it was looking good. I read it first. Then I ran it through Grammarly Pro. Then I started seeing some things, okay?
Grammarly can pick up some stuff. But
Then I started seeing some things.
us because one thing I find out the AI does speak like us. You know, it can take, and Grammarly is kind of like to me like the higher education. Of course, you can tell it
Correct. You set your parameters.
levels or this level, you know, sixth grade level, whatever you wanted levels you wanted to be, depending because they want to know. Grammarly want to know what's your audience, who's going to be watching this, reading or listening. And I use it a lot too. I'm gonna tell you, it really helped me tremendously because it took me forever to get voice over people together.
Mm.
And that was the main reason why I couldn't expand the puppet ministry because I have to wait for my daughter to do her part. Oh, I got exams. Oh, I got a trip. With my
Yeah.
son. Oh, you gotta send me a script. No, let's just go on Zoom and I'll tell you. You know, so it's like now I don't have to worry about all that hassle. It's like come to the studio, give me your voice. I get permission. They go through the thing, the exchange with the system, and I got it. They don't need to be down here again. So it does have its benefits, even when it comes to, and of course, a lot of voice over actors are kind of angry about that part, but they need to know how they can expand that on their business. They know
And I think that's going to be it right there. It's not going to go anywhere. So if you are, for instance, we have some people that are ghostwriters and they're like, well, this is going to impact us. No, figure out how to use it as a ghostwriter. Okay, this will benefit you greatly as a ghostwriter.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't have time to be shopping around for stories and this, that. I mean, they can come up with stories on their own. I'm gonna tell you, the most amazing thing when I first got into social media, I met this guy on Facebook. He had, I'm just gonna say, he had like 200 authors. They were 99 cent authors. Everybody sold an ebook for 99 cents. But they were writing like full books, like 400 or 500 page book, and then he would make them a trilogy. So as soon as one book kick out and the readers excited about the climax of the story, the second one be dropping. And he had a stable, like I said, like 200 something writers. And then his girlfriend had like 50 writers because she actually was the composition team. She did all the composition work. And I remember he was giving away Mercedes Benz as gifts to his to some of the girls. And just think, for 99 cents, he's only making 44 cents off of Amazon for each book sold. But they're selling like thousands of these books, and everybody is marketing the books at the same time. Every time a book drop, that author will market on their social media platform. So if he had 250 authors, you're talking about 250 individuals marketing that person's book that just dropped yesterday. And they did this throughout the year. Heavy. I don't know where he is today, but I remember he was actually a crack baby.
Hmm.
He was born in prison. And
Wow.
well,
Well,
yeah,
listen, it's not about where you start. It's about what you do to get to the next,
he
level,
used
to the next level, people.
he used the system that was already put in place, Amazon and Facebook and Instagram, and it got him where he needed to go. And he wasn't the only person that was doing that. It was like romance writers, because they were doing street lit. You know, and our people love street lit. If you want to sell something, like of course Tyler Perry was the first one to do stage plays the way he had done them. Of course, there's some smaller directors out there doing the same thing, but they didn't think about making it a television show. So people just got to think about how to think, just thinking outside the box. How can you get this to the masses? And it's kind of different, you know.
Mm-hmm.
There's always a way you can put a spin. I heard that story. The person that told me the story about Tyler Perry was right here in my studio,
Yeah, okay.
right? Because he had a dilemma, him and TD Jakes, and that was, how do they get into these venues, because they're always all booked up with concerts and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to be in that circle, and that was the only thing was really holding them back. So then I think that's when he thought about, I need to film it. So that could
Mm-hmm.
have been just that one thing that was blocking his blessing, and then look what it did. It multiplied him. Instead of
Mm-hmm.
him traveling 50 states, filming one time, he can. They don't have no problem showing it in the movie theaters.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's about having that vision and then begin to develop your goals and objectives to work towards it. It's not going to just happen. I don't care how much we think about being. Well, I've never thought about being a millionaire. That's not even been a concern with me, because just every day is just such a beautiful day.
Yeah,
But if the Lord, and that was like, somebody said, well, what if you get $1 million? What would you do? The first thing I think about is, who can I help?
right.
It's about serving other people. So that's the excitement for me in the dollar. I mean, I live comfortable. I don't have to live above my means if I can help somebody else. So I think that is really, really important. So we're gonna stop on this note, but hold on, Jerry, because I want to ask you a question when we finish. But everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. Listen, I was going to talk about building a foundation and clarity of purpose today, but I think I'll hold that for next week, because you see where the conversation went today. And that's just what a few of us on the screen. Just think about if my other people would have been here. But thank you so much, Jerry, for hanging out with me today. I love this space because you never know who's going to come in the room. Therefore, you never know how the conversation is going to shift, whatever the direction is going to be. But thanks, everybody. I want to remind you that we have been blessed to be a blessing. And if we serve King Jesus, we are supposed to be the visible manifestation of his invisible presence. All right. I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.